The station called Harmony Prime floated in the dark space between stars. It was a place where different species met to talk, to trade, and to make peace. Thousands of aliens lived and worked there. And for the first time in history, humans were among them. Lieutenant Una Park stood near the observation window and watched the stars. She had been on this station for 6 months now. 6 months of strange food, strange air, and strange looks from aliens who had never seen a human before. She was used to it by now. The way they stared, the way they kept their distance, the way they whispered when they thought she could not hear. Deathworlder, they called her kind. It was not meant as a compliment. Una did not mind. She had read the reports about Earth. She knew what the galaxy thought of her home. A planet with crushing gravity, extreme temperatures, violent storms, predators everywhere, diseases that could kill in days. To most species in the galaxy, Earth was a nightmare. The fact that humans had survived there at all seemed impossible. Captain Tae Kim walked up beside her. He was older than Una, with gray at his temples and old burned scars on his hands. He had been a soldier for 15 years. He had seen things that still kept him awake at night, but he smiled when he looked at the stars. "Beautiful, isn't it?" he said. Una nodded. "It is. Hard to believe we're actually here. 3 years since first contact," Tae said, "and they still don't know what to make of us." Before Una could answer, the station shook. The lights flickered. A deep alarm began to sound, and red emergency lights painted everything in blood colors. "What was that?" Una asked. Tae was already moving. "Explosion. Sector 7. Come on." They ran through the corridors. Other aliens ran too, but not like the humans ran. The aliens moved slowly, carefully, their bodies not built for speed. Una and Tae passed them easily. Some aliens pressed themselves against the walls as the humans went by, fear in their eyes. The station's communication system crackled. A voice spoke in the common galactic language. "This is the Hollow Sun. We have taken control of the environmental systems. All aliens will know the weakness of flesh. All will be purified." "Terrorists," Tae said. "The Hollow Sun cult. They hate organic life." Another explosion. This time Una heard something else. A hissing sound. Gas was pouring from the vents in the ceiling. Yellow-green gas that smelled sharp and wrong. "Chlorine," Una said. She coughed. Her eyes watered. "They're flooding the station with chlorine gas." All around them, aliens began to fall. The Kith, the insect-like species with their delicate breathing systems, collapsed first. Then the Velkin, the tall and thin silicon-based beings. Then the collisions, the fish-like creatures in their water suits. One by one, they dropped to the floor, choking, dying. Una's lungs burned. Her throat felt like fire, but she kept moving. "How are you still standing?" A voice asked. Why Una looked down. An alien lay on the floor. It was Ambassador Velrose, a Kith diplomat she had met at several meetings. His compound eyes were dim. His breathing was shallow. Green foam leaked from his mouth. "Chlorine is not good for us either," Una said. She bent down and lifted the ambassador onto her shoulder. He weighed almost nothing to her. Earth's gravity was 3 times stronger than his homeworld. But it takes more than this to kill a human. She started walking, then running. The ambassador bounced on her shoulder. Behind her, Tae was gathering other survivors. He found a sealed room and began pulling aliens inside. When the door would not close properly, he grabbed the metal frame with his bare hands and forced it shut. The hot metal burned his palms. He did not stop. He did not scream. He just kept working. "Captain," one of the aliens whispered, "your hands." Tae looked at his palms. The skin was red and blistering. "I know," he said. "I'll worry about it later." Una carried Ambassador Velrose for 2 kilometers through the dying station. She passed hundreds of bodies. She breathed poison air that would have killed any other species in minutes. Her body hurt. Her lungs screamed. But she did not stop. This was what humans did. They endured. She reached the medical bay and laid Velrose on a bed. Doctors rushed to help him. They were wearing emergency breathing masks. They stared at Yuna like she was a ghost. "How?" one doctor asked. "How are you alive?" Yuna wiped the tears from her burning eyes. "We're from Earth," she said. "This is nothing." It took 4 hours to secure the station. Human security teams moved through the corridors, hunting the terrorists. The Hollow Sun fighters expected easy targets. They found something else entirely. They found humans. Humans who breathed poison and kept fighting. Humans who took wounds that would kill other species and kept moving. Humans who did not stop, did not rest, did not give up. By the end, the surviving terrorists surrendered. They were shaking. One of them looked at the human soldiers with something new in his eyes. Not hate, fear. The galaxy watched the footage from Harmony Prime. They saw humans carrying aliens to safety. They saw Captain Tae Kim forcing doors closed with burning hands. They saw Lieutenant Yuna Park walking through clouds of chlorine gas like it was morning fog. The news spread fast. Every species saw it. Every world talked about it. Ambassador Velrose recovered in the medical bay. When he woke up, Yuna was sitting beside him. "You saved me," he said. His voice was weak. "Yes," Yuna said. "Why?" "We have not been kind to your people. We have called you monsters, Deathworlders. We have feared you." Yuna thought about the question. She thought about Earth, about all the times humans had helped each other through disasters. About the way her grandmother had carried her grandfather through a flood when she was young. About the soldiers who ran toward danger instead of away. "'Cause that's what we do," she said finally. "When things are bad, humans help. It's just who we are." Velrose was quiet for a long time. Then he reached out and touched her hand with his thin, fragile fingers. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "we have misunderstood your kind." Una smiled. "Maybe give us time. We're not so scary once you get to know us." But across the galaxy, others watched the same footage and reached a different conclusion. They saw creatures that could breathe poison, that could ignore pain, that could push their bodies past any limit. They did not see saviors. They saw weapons. And they began to wonder, what would happen if humans ever turned against them? The fear had only just begun. The ocean world of Callus 4 was beautiful. Water covered 90% of the planet. The cities floated on the waves like giant flowers made of glass and metal. The Galactic Medical Institute sat on the largest floating platform, a place where scientists from 100 worlds came to share knowledge. Dr. Suhan had never expected to visit such a place. She was a xenobiologist from Korea, a woman who had spent 20 years studying alien life. Now the aliens wanted to study her. They're curious about human biology, her assistant had told her. After Harmony Prime, everyone wants to understand how humans work. So here she was, standing in a great hall filled with alien scientists. Hundreds of eyes watched her. Some of those eyes were on stalks. Some glowed in the dark. Some were so different from human eyes that Sue could not even tell where they were looking. She smiled. "Thank you for inviting me," she said. Her voice was calm and warm. "I know there has been much confusion about my species. Today, I hope to answer your questions." A collision scientist floated in a water tank near the front. Her name was Mira. Her skin was blue and covered in scales. Her eyes were large and golden. She raised a flipper to ask the first question. "Dr. Han," Mira said, "the footage from Harmony Prime showed humans surviving chlorine gas exposure. Our medical data says this should be impossible. Can you explain?" Sue nodded. "Humans have evolved on a planet with a toxic atmosphere. The air on Earth contains high levels of oxygen, which is actually a corrosive gas. Our bodies have adapted to filter out many harmful substances. Chlorine is dangerous to us, yes, but our lungs can handle small amounts. It causes pain and damage, but not immediate death." Mira wrote notes with her flipper. Several other scientists looked at each other with worried expressions. Sue continued, "This is because of our immune system. Human bodies contain a complex defense network. White blood cells patrol our bodies constantly, looking for anything foreign. When they find invaders, they attack. They release chemicals. They create inflammation. They burn the enemy out." "You make it sound like warfare," said a thin voice. Sue looked up. A Velkan scientist stood near the back. His name was Orin. His body was made of crystal and silicon, fragile and beautiful. He looked very uncomfortable. "It is warfare," Sue said gently. "Inside every human body, there is a constant battle. Our immune system is always fighting. Bacteria, viruses, parasites. We carry millions of tiny invaders at all times. Our bodies kill most of them without us even knowing." Orin sat down slowly. His crystal hands were shaking. Sue pulled up a display screen. Images appeared. Images of Earth, of Africa, of ancient humans running across golden plains. "Let me tell you about how humans evolved," she said. "We are what xenobiologists call persistence predators. Long ago, our ancestors did not have claws or fangs or venom. We were weak compared to other animals on our world. But we had one advantage." She paused. The room was completely silent. It could run forever. The display showed an animation. A human chasing a deer-like animal across the savannah. The animal was faster. It ran away easily, but the human kept following, walking, jogging, never stopping. The animal ran again, and again, and again. Each time, it got slower. Each time, the human got closer. "Humans sweat," Sue explained. "We can cool our bodies while moving. Most earth animals cannot do this. They overheat. They have to stop and rest. But humans do not stop. We just keep coming, hour after hour, day after day, until the prey is too exhausted to run anymore." "This is how you hunted?" Mira asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Yes, we chased animals until they died of exhaustion, until their hearts gave out, until they simply fell down and could not get up again." Sue smiled softly. "It is not fast. It is not elegant. But it works. Because humans do not quit," a murmur went through the crowd. Several aliens were pressing against the walls, trying to get farther from the human at the front of the room. Sue changed the display. Now it showed food. Human food. "I would also like to discuss human diet," she said. "We are omnivores. We eat plants and animals, but some of the things we consume would be classified as poison by galactic standards." She pointed to a bottle of wine. "This is alcohol. Ethanol, a chemical used in industrial cleaning on many worlds. Humans drink it for pleasure. It affects our brains, making us feel relaxed and happy." Then she pointed to a red pepper. "This is capsaicin, a chemical that activates pain receptors. It makes food taste like fire. Humans add it to meals because we enjoy the burning sensation." Then she pointed to a cup of dark liquid. "This is coffee. It contains caffeine, a stimulant drug that would cause heart failure in most species. Humans drink it every morning to wake up." Orin made a soft sound. His crystal body flickered. Then he fell sideways and did not move. "Medical team to the rear," someone shouted. "The Velkan delegate has fainted." Sue waited patiently while doctors attended to Orin. She had expected this. She had seen aliens faint before when learning about human biology. When things calmed down, she continued, "I have one more thing to show you. This is perhaps the most important." The display showed a time-lapse video. A human arm with a deep cut. Over the course of several days, the wound closed. New skin grew. The scar faded. "Humans heal," Sue said. "Our bodies repair themselves. Cuts close. Bones mend. Even organs can regenerate to some degree. What you see here took about 2 weeks." "2 weeks?" a Kith scientist asked. "For a wound that deep? Yes. Is that unusual?" The Kith scientist looked at his colleagues. "For my species, such a wound would take 6 months to heal. If it healed at all?" Silence filled the room. Then Mira spoke. Her voice was quiet, but her words carried to every ear in the hall. "Dr. Hahn, I must ask a question that I think everyone here is thinking. Please, how do you kill something like this?" The question hung in the air. Sue looked at the alien faces around her. She saw fear. Deep, primal fear. The kind of fear prey feels when it sees a predator. She took a deep breath. You don't, she said. You make friends with us instead. No one laughed. No one smiled. The conference ended shortly after. Aliens hurried away, whispering to each other, casting glances back at the small human woman who stood alone in the empty hall. Sue did not mind. She understood. She had just told them the truth about what humans were. It would take time for them to accept it. She looked out the window at the endless ocean. Somewhere out there, across the galaxy, humans were building colonies, making alliances, exploring new worlds. They were not monsters. They were not weapons. They were just people. Strange, durable, stubborn people who had evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day, and somehow, against all odds, they had survived. Now the galaxy had to decide. Were humans a threat to be feared, or allies to be embraced? Sue hoped they would choose wisely. The asteroid called Bora 7 was cold and dark and full of valuable ore. Humans had built a mining colony there. 40 miners, 12 Marines to protect them. A small community in the endless black of space. Sergeant Jiho Lee stood in the command center and looked at the radar screen. Red dots were appearing. Many red dots. How many ships? He asked. 15, the operator said. They're broadcasting hollow sun codes. Jiho closed his eyes. The Hollow Sun Cult, the same terrorists who had attacked Harmony Prime, they had come back. And this time, they had come for the humans. Wake everyone, Jiho said. His voice was calm, almost too calm, full alert. Get the miners to the deep tunnels. Marines, 2 defensive positions. Sir, there are 300 soldiers on those ships. We only have 12 Marines. I know. Jiho opened his eyes. They were hard and dark. We'll have to make do. The attack began an hour later. Cult soldiers poured into the station from every direction. They were well-armed and well-trained. They had planned this assault for months. They expected it to be easy. It was not easy. Corporal Nari Choi crouched behind a pile of ore crates. She was a combat medic. Her job was to save lives. But right now, her job was to take them. She aimed her rifle at the doorway and waited. 3 cult soldiers came through. Nari fired. 3 bodies fell. Clear, she said into her radio. Copy, Jiho's voice replied. Fall back to Tunnel 4? We're drawing them in. This was the plan. The humans could not win a straight fight against 300 enemies, so they would not fight straight. They would use the tunnels, the darkness, the confusion. They would make the enemy pay for every meter of ground. The first day was chaos. Fighting in the corridors, fighting in the mines, fighting in the dark with only the flash of weapons for light. The cult soldiers pushed forward with their numbers. The humans pulled back, but slowly. Always making them bleed. By the end of the first day, the cult had lost 40 soldiers. The humans had lost 2 miners to a grenade. The Marines were all still alive. On the second day, the cult commander grew angry. He sent his soldiers into the tunnels in larger groups. He thought numbers would overwhelm the humans. He was wrong. Jiho had studied the tunnels for months. He knew every turn, every shaft, every hidden room. He set traps. He created ambush points. He turned the darkness into a weapon. A Kith worker named Vex huddled in one of the deep mine shafts with the other civilians. He was young, barely an adult by his species standards. He had never seen violence before. Now he watched the humans through a security camera. He could not look away. The humans moved through the tunnels like ghosts. They did not use lights. They did not need them. Somehow, they always knew where the enemy was. They appeared from shadows, struck fast, and vanished again. They can see in the dark, Dex whispered. No, an older miner said. Their eyes adapt. They use their other senses too. Hearing, smell. They can feel vibrations through the floor. On the screen, Dex watched a human soldier named Jiho. The cult had him surrounded. 10 against 1. Vex expected the human to surrender or die. Instead, Jiho fought. He moved so fast that the camera could barely track him. He used his rifle, then his knife, then his bare hands. Bodies fell around him. When it was over, he stood alone in a circle of dead enemies. He was not even breathing hard. "What are they?" Vex asked. His voice shook. The old miner shook his head. "Deathworlders." On the third day, Nari took a plasma bolt to her left arm. The shot burned through her armor and cooked the flesh underneath. She screamed once. Then she stopped. "How bad?" Jiho asked through the radio. Nari looked at her arm. The wound was ugly. Black and red and still smoking. Any other species would have collapsed from the pain, would have gone into shock, would have died. Nari pulled out her medical kit. She found the cauterizer tool. She pressed it against her own wound and sealed it shut. The smell of burning meat filled the air. Her face went white. Her jaw clenched so hard that Jiho could hear her teeth grinding through the radio. "I'm fine," she said. "Ready to move, Nari?" I said. "I'm fine." She picked up her rifle with her good hand. "Let's go hunting." Dex watched this through the camera. He felt sick. He felt afraid. But underneath those feelings, he felt something else. Awe. By the third night, the cult had lost over 200 soldiers. The humans had not slept in 72 hours. Any other species would have collapsed from exhaustion. The humans just kept going. Their bodies were designed for this. Millions of years of evolution had built them for endurance. Adrenaline flooded their systems, keeping them alert and ready. Their muscles burned, but did not fail. Their minds stayed sharp even as their bodies screamed for rest. The remaining cult soldiers began to break. They had expected easy targets. They had found monsters instead. Jiho cornered a group of 10 cult fighters in a dead-end tunnel. They had nowhere to run. Their weapons were nearly empty. They looked at the humans standing in the shadows, and they saw death. "Please," one of them said. "We surrender." Jiho stepped into the light. His face was calm, almost peaceful. There was blood on his armor that was not his own. He smiled. "Smart choice," he said. The cult soldier who had spoken stared at the human's smile. He had seen many terrible things in his life, but that smile was the worst, because it was genuine. The human was not angry. He was not afraid. He was just doing his job, and he was good at it. "You enjoy this?" the soldier whispered. "You enjoy hunting us?" Jiho's smile faded. He was quiet for a moment. "No," he said finally. "I don't enjoy killing, but I am very good at not dying. My people have been surviving for millions of years. We survived ice ages. We survived plagues. We survived predators that would give you nightmares. We survived each other." He leaned closer. "You thought you were the hunters here. You were wrong. You were always the prey." The siege ended that night. The remaining cult soldiers surrendered. They came out of the tunnels shaking and pale. Some of them were crying. One of them kept repeating the same thing over and over. They kept smiling. They kept smiling. They would not stop. Dex emerged from hiding and saw the aftermath. Dead cult soldiers everywhere. Blood on the walls. And in the middle of it all, 12 human Marines standing together. They were exhausted, wounded, covered in dirt and blood. But they were alive. Nari saw this and walked over. Her arm was wrapped in bloody bandages. She should have been in a hospital. Instead, she was checking on civilians. "Are you okay?" she asked. Dex looked up at her. At this human who had burned her own flesh and kept fighting. At this creature that should not exist. "I think," he said slowly, "that I understand now." "Why the galaxy fears you?" Nari nodded. "And do you fear us?" Vex thought about it. He thought about the humans protecting the miners. About the soldiers who had not slept for 3 days to keep strangers safe. About the smile that could mean comfort or death depending on which side you were on. "No," he said. "I think I am grateful. Grateful that you are on our side." Nari smiled. A warm smile. A human smile. "That's the right answer," she said. The grand chamber of the Galactic Assembly was the largest room in the known universe. A dome of crystalline light that floated above the capital world. Representatives from 10,000 species gathered there to make decisions that affected all of galactic civilization today. They had gathered to discuss humanity. Ambassador Hun Kong sat in the human delegation's seat and watched the chaos unfold. He was 50 years old, with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent his whole life preparing for this moment, the moment when humanity would be judged. Chancellor Dren of the Vexery Empire stood at the central podium. He was a tall creature with blue skin and 4 arms. His voice boomed through the chamber. "We have all seen the footage from Bora 7, Dren said. 12 humans against 300 soldiers. The humans won. They did not just win. They hunted. They stalked. They killed with efficiency that should not be possible for organic life." The chamber murmured. Many delegates nodded. "And this is not the first time," Dren continued. "At Harmony Prime, humans walked through poison gas. They carried our people to safety with burning hands. Their own bodies failed, and they kept moving. This is not normal. This is not natural." He pointed at Han. "Humanity is a weapon. Their planet made them into weapons. Every part of their biology is designed for violence. Their immune systems attack foreign matter with chemical warfare. Their bodies can function through pain that would kill any of us. They do not stop. They do not tire. They do not give up." The chamber was silent now. Thousands of alien eyes turned to look at the human ambassador. "I propose," Dren said, "that humanity be expelled from the assembly. They are too dangerous to be trusted. Their homeworld should be quarantined. Their colonies should be monitored. Before they decide that we are their prey." Applause came from several sections of the chamber. Fear had a voice, and it was growing louder. "High Arbiter." Velka rose from her seat. She was ancient, her species one of the oldest in the galaxy. Her skin was like cracked parchment, her eyes like distant stars. She had seen empires rise and fall. She had guided the assembly for 300 years. "Ambassador Kong," she said. "You may respond." Yoon stood slowly. He looked around the chamber. He saw fear everywhere. Fear of his species. Fear of what humans could do. He did not argue. He did not defend. Instead, he told a story. 100,000 years ago, he began. "My ancestors lived in caves. They were weak, small. The predators on our world could kill them easily. They had no claws, no fangs, no armor. They should have gone extinct." He paused. The chamber was listening, but they did not go extinct. Do you know why? Because they worked together. They formed groups. They protected each other. When one was hurt, others carried them. When one was hungry, others shared food. When danger came, they did not run. They stood together and faced it. Hyun walked to the center of the chamber. He was alone there, surrounded by thousands of aliens who feared him. "Yes, we are dangerous," he said. "Yes, our bodies are weapons. Yes, we can endure things that would kill other species. This is true, but you are missing something important." He looked at Chancellor Dren. "You see what we can do? But you do not see what we choose to do." The display screens around the chamber flickered to life. Images appeared. Not of violence. Not of war. Images of humans helping. A human doctor treating sick children on a Kith colony world. Human engineers building water systems for a drought-stricken collision settlement. Human soldiers standing guard while alien refugees fled a natural disaster. Human teachers in alien schools. Human aid workers feeding the hungry. "Humans have been in this galaxy for 3 years," Hyun said. "In that time, we have established charity organizations on 12 worlds. We have saved lives. We have built things. We have helped people we had no reason to help, simply because they needed help." He turned to face the full chamber. "Do you know what the humans at Harmony Prime said when asked why they risked their lives for aliens who feared them? They said it was the right thing to do. Do you know what the Marines at Bora 7 were protecting? 40 miners, strangers, people they had never met before. They fought for 3 days without sleep to protect strangers." Chancellor Dren stood up. "Pretty words do not change biology. You are predators." "Your instincts are instincts," Hay interrupted, tell us to protect our pack. And here is what you do not understand, Chancellor. Humans can make anyone part of their pack. Anyone. It does not matter what you look like. It does not matter where you come from. If we decide you are ours, we will protect you. We will fight for you. We will die for you. He pointed at the images on the screens. This is also our biology. We bond, we love, we adopt. We will pick up a wounded alien we have never met and carry them through poison gas, because something in our hearts tells us that this stranger matters, that all life matters. The chamber was silent. Hyan's voice softened. You are right to fear what we can do, but I ask you to consider what we choose to do. We choose to protect. We choose to build. We choose to love things that are not like us. We choose to be friends instead of predators. He returned to his seat. That is all I have to say. High Arbiter Velka looked at the chamber. She could feel the tension, the fear, but also something else. Doubt, perhaps even hope. We will vote, she said. All in favor of expelling humanity from the assembly. Hands rose. Tentacles rose. Limbs of all kinds rose. Hune counted them. Many, too many. All opposed. More hands rose. Slowly at first, then more. Ambassador Velrose, the Kith delegate, who had been saved at Harmony Prime, raised all four of his arms. I oppose, he said loudly, because a human saved my life, because she carried me through fire and poison and never complained. Because when I asked her why, she said it was just what humans do. More votes came. The collision delegation, the survivors of Barusavan, species who had received human aid. When the counting was done, Velka spoke. The motion fails. Humanity will remain in the assembly. Hune let out a breath he did not know he was holding, but Velka was not finished. However, she said this vote was close. Too close. Trust must be earned, Ambassador Kong. Your species has shown what it can do. Now, you must show us what you will do. The galaxy is watching. Jan nodded. We understand. Hope so. Because if humanity ever turns its weapons against us, there will be nothing we can do to stop you. That night, Heian stood on the balcony of the human embassy and looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, billions of humans were living their lives. Working, playing, loving. They did not know how close they had come to being cast out of galactic society, but he knew. And he knew that the real work was just beginning. Humanity had survived the vote. Now they had to prove that they deserved to stay. They had to show the galaxy that Deathworlders could also be friends. He thought about what he had said in the chamber. About choice. About love. About becoming pack. He hoped it was true. He hoped humans would always choose to be protectors instead of predators. Because if they ever stopped choosing, there was nothing in the galaxy that could stop them. That thought kept him awake for a very long time. It came from beyond the galaxy. From the dark spaces between stars where nothing was supposed to exist. It had no name that organic minds could understand. The scientists called it the Watcher. It did not care what they called it. The Watcher was old. Older than the galaxy itself. It had drifted through the universe for billions of years, consuming everything it found. Stars, planets, civilizations, everything turned to dust in its wake. Now it had found the Milky Way, and it was hungry. The first fleet, sent to stop it, was destroyed in seconds. 12,000 ships, gone. The Watcher did not even slow down. Admiral Daishin watched the footage from his command ship. He was 55 years old. His face was lined with age and worry. He had fought in a dozen battles, but nothing like this. It's heading for New Harbor, his lieutenant said. The colony. 2 million people. They nodded slowly. New Harbor was a frontier colony. Humans and aliens living together, building something new, something hopeful. Now it would be the first to die. How long until it arrives? Day asked. 6 hours. 6 hours. 6 hours to stop something that had destroyed 12,000 ships without trying. It was impossible. Everyone knew it was impossible. Day opened a communication channel. All ships, This is Admiral Shin. The evacuation of New Harbor has begun, but we need time. We're going to buy that time. Silence on the channel. I know what I'm asking. I know the odds. But those are our people down there. Human and alien alike. They are ours. And we do not abandon our own. He paused. Anyone who wants to leave, leave now. No one will blame you. What's coming is beyond anything we've faced. But if you stay, stay knowing that we might not survive. We probably won't survive. One by one, ships responded. Not with words, with actions. They formed up around the command ship. Human ships, Kith ships, collision ships, even a Velkin research vessel. No one left. Lieutenant Una Park stood on the bridge of her own ship now. 10 years had passed since Harmony Prime. She had grown, changed, become harder, but she still remembered carrying Ambassador Velros through the poison gas. She still remembered why she fought. All weapons ready, her crew reported. Good Una looked at the darkness ahead. The Watcher was coming. She could feel it somehow, a cold pressure in her mind. Let's show this thing what humans are made of. The battle began badly. The Watcher was not a ship. It was not even a creature in any normal sense. It was a darkness that ate light, a nothing that consumed everything. The combined fleet threw everything they had at it. Missiles, plasma, lasers, nuclear, weapons. Nothing worked. Ships crumbled. Crews died. The alien vessels broke first. Species that had never known war were paralyzed with terror. They tried to run. The human ships did not run. Admiral Day pushed his fleet forward, into the darkness, into the death. If we're going to die, he said, we're going to die buying time. Every second we hold, another transport escapes. Every minute, another 1,000 lives saved. Una's ship took a direct hit. The hull breached. Half her crew was killed instantly. Alarms screamed. Fires burned. The ship was dying. Una kept fighting. Seal the breach, she ordered. Route power to forward weapons. Keep firing. Captain, we should evacuate. Keep firing. Ambassador Velros watched from a Kith cruiser. He had come to fight alongside the humans who had saved him 10 years ago. He had expected to die today. What he did not expect was what he saw next. The human ships were dying. One by one they fell. But as each ship fell, its crew did something impossible. They did not run. They did not surrender. They turned their dying vessels into weapons. They crashed into the Watcher's surface. They detonated their reactors inside its body. They kept fighting until there was nothing left to fight with. And then they kept fighting some more. YUNA gathered the survivors of her crew. There were only 12 left. 12 out of 200. Their ship was a wreck. Their weapons were gone. They had nothing, except themselves. We're going to board it, Una said. Board it. Captain, that's crazy? Yes, but we have explosives. We have suits. And we have something that thing out there doesn't have. She looked at her crew. Humans, aliens, all of them battered and bleeding. All of them terrified. All of them still standing. We have stubbornness, she said. We have the inability to quit. We're going to walk into that thing, plant our bombs, and blow it apart from the inside. And if it kills us, well, she smiled. That same smile that had terrified enemies across the galaxy, at least it'll know we were here. The strike team crossed the gap between ships in emergency suits. They landed on the Watcher's surface and began walking. The surface was not matter. It was something else. Something wrong. Una felt it trying to pull at her mind. Trying to make her give up. Trying to make her stop. She did not stop. She could not stop. Something in her biology would not allow it. The team moved deeper. One by one, they fell. Radiation, cold, the strange energy of the Watcher itself. But each one who fell passed their explosives to the next, each one kept the mission going. Finally, only Una remained. Her suit was failing. Her body was failing. She could barely see, barely breathe, but she kept walking. One step, then another. Then another. The Watcher spoke to her, not in words, in feelings. It asked her why she was doing this, why she would not surrender, why she would not simply accept death. Una laughed. It was a broken sound. Blood in her throat, cold in her lungs. "'Cause you haven't killed me yet," she said. She reached the core. She planted the bombs. She pressed the button. The explosion was visible from space, a light in the darkness. The Watcher screamed. Not in sound, in something deeper. It was hurt. For the first time in billions of years, it was truly hurt, and it was afraid. The thing retreated. It pulled back from the galaxy. It disappeared into the void between stars. Perhaps it would return someday. Perhaps it would find easier prey elsewhere. But today, it ran, because of humans. Because of creatures from a death world who would not stop, who would not quit, who would rather die than surrender. Valro stood before the Galactic Assembly 1 month later. The chamber was full. Every species in the galaxy had sent representatives. They had come to talk about what had happened at New Harbor. "I used to fear humans," Valro said. His voice carried to every corner of the chamber. "I thought they were monsters, weapons, dangerous creatures that should be contained." He paused. The chamber was silent. I was wrong. He brought up images on the display screens. Images of human ships charging into the darkness. Images of Admiral Day Shin giving orders until the moment his ship was destroyed. Images of Unipark walking into the heart of something that had killed civilizations, carrying bombs and a smile. "Humans are not weapons," Velro said. "They are shields. They are the galaxy's shield. When the darkness came, when we all ran, they stood firm. They bought us time with their bodies. They held the line with their lives." He looked at the human delegation. There were empty seats there now. So many empty seats. I do not know what makes humans the way they are. I do not know why a death world produces creatures of such terrible beauty. But I know this. I am grateful. Grateful that they exist. Grateful that they chose to protect us. Grateful that when the galaxy needed heroes, humanity answered. He raised all 4 of his arms in the kith gesture of deepest respect. To the humans who died at New Harbor, to the humans who live, to all of humanity, thank you. You are no longer strangers in this galaxy. You are family. The chamber erupted. Not in fear this time. In something else. Applause. Cheers. Species that had once feared humans now stood to honor them. And somewhere, in the medical bay of a rescue ship, Unipark opened her eyes. She had survived. Somehow, impossibly, she had survived. The doctor said it was a miracle. Una knew better. It was not a miracle. It was just what humans did. She looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Watcher was still running. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was still spinning. And somewhere out there, humans were still doing what they had always done. Surviving, protecting, refusing to quit. She smiled. "Not bad," she whispered, "for a bunch of Deathworlders."